today. So thank you, Fred, for joining us. And we love the fixture behind you, by the way.
Thank you. I've got the Killing It sign and the display. So, well, hello, everyone. I first off want to, thoughts and prayers with all of the retailers. I mean, this is obviously an unprecedented time. I know as a small business owner, my heart goes out to people who are, really trying to keep things together. It's obviously it's a very, very difficult time, and we're trying to do our part to support you. So I'll try to be quick and to the point with our thoughts. We've got a lot of things here that I think can, as you start to open up your stores and as the communities reemerge back to some sense of normalcy, we think we have a couple of different ideas that are going to speak to your consumers. So I'll start with a little bit of a refresh. If you can go to the next slide, start with a little bit of a refresh. So for those of you who do not know who we are so Luca and Danni is very much a mission-driven brand. I'll talk about it in the forthcoming slide, but I started this company as a result of losing my younger brother to cancer. So my younger brother, Danni, passed away in April of 2013. I, at the time, was an investment banker. My family has been in the jewelry manufacturing business since 1954. So I've got a very cool heritage of making inspirational and aspirational jewelry. And it brought me back to sort of my roots. And I went on this journey of starting a brand at the beginning, very much in his memory. And it's kind of cool. It's sort of morphed into sort of my beliefs and the things that our community teaches us about. So we're very much digitally native. For those of you who follow us, we do a lot of stuff on paid social, mainly Facebook and Instagram. I'm a strong believer that it's a great tool for people to discover not only our products, but more importantly, who we are as a brand and who we are as a community. So we've got about 600,000 followers across Facebook and Instagram. We've got a fantastic team that curates a bunch of really, really cool content. And for us, I'll be very transparent. I think the world doesn't need another jewelry brand. To me, that's not very exciting. For us, the jewelry is a way for us to connect with people on a level that sort of transcends buying a piece of jewelry. So our mantra, which you see on the right-hand side of the screen, is embrace the journey. And that's something that sort of I've gone through personally. The journey is life. There's twists and turns and ups and downs. Life can be very difficult and challenging, as it is now, but it's beautiful, it's a blessing, and it's something that all of us take for granted. So we view the jewelry as a way for her to express the journey that she's going on, and we really try to put her, our consumer, front and center in every single possible decision that we can make, whether it be products, whether it be marketing, whether it be just the overall experience of dealing with a brand. So that embrace the journey stuff, I think, has probably never been more relevant than now. For many of us, this is arguably one of probably the most difficult aspects of life that we've gone through. It's taken everything that we know about living everyday life and turned it upside down. So I think I say this because I don't think there's a better time for our brand and the messages that we stand for. Push aside the jewelry, because again, I think jewelry is important, but it's not what we stand for. I think there's never been a better time to be an advocate for the message of this brand. And, we're so excited to be able to connect with an amazing community during a difficult time. So if we go to the next slide, I'll go through this really quickly. So what's great about this brand is, it's not a bunch of people sitting in a marketing room coming up with things that sound great. Our team is really authentic. It's led by sort of me and the things that I've gone through. I try to be as transparent as possible about, I've lost my brother, I've lost my dad, I've gone through a bunch of different things in my life. It's analogous to what all of you have gone through in your life and all of your consumers. And so that's at the genesis of who we are. And I implore you to go on our social media. If you don't follow us on Facebook or Instagram, I would do so. Reach out to your sales reps or reach out to any of our internal B2B teams. We've got some great videos and some great content around stories that we've been featured on that not only will educate you about our brand, but I think give you good salient talking points as you're going out and talking to your consumer base. So I'll leave it for you guys to follow up with that stuff. All right, next slide, we have a bunch of different ideas that we think speak to consumers right now and probably over the next couple of weeks. The reality is COVID is not going away anytime soon. There's a bunch of news reports that it may get worse in the fall. So I think we're in I hate to use the term new normal, but this is going to be with us for a while. And I think we've got to, we've all got a job to do. We've got to take care of consumers, those memories and milestones and gifts, those events that they go through. They're still going to need gifts to be able to express, those emotions and those memories to their loved ones. And we take that job very seriously, and we think we're a great solution. So I'm going to go through 5 or 6 different ideas of things that we like, both now and over the coming weeks. I'll preface this with what we're doing on our paid social. So on Facebook and Instagram, which we're very active with, we spend a lot of money advertising, and that's very intentional. We feel like, as I mentioned before, these are great discovery mechanisms for Luca and Danni, for the brand, for the stories, and for the products. What we're seeing, which I think is really important, is we've seen a lot of big advertisers back out of Facebook and Instagram. The cost of the advertising has plummeted. It's at 2016 levels. And so we're looking at this and saying this is a once in a generational opportunity for us to get very, very cheap advertising. We can get we're getting more bang for a buck in terms of being able to get exposure. So we're literally going as fast as we can in terms of getting as much advertising out there, because we think it's a great way for people to not only to discover the brand, but to discover the stories and to discover the community. These are a lot of the pieces that we are heavily advertising now, and the things that we will continue to heavily advertise throughout May and probably into early June. So I'll start with this piece. This is called Rainbow of Hope. And our thesis behind this product was really sort of talking about the other side of COVID. We have a lot of pieces that are very deep and very direct in terms of what the meanings are. We want to talk to, like, as humanity starts to get back to normal and people start to get back to their everyday lives. So the phrase is very simple. It says, the greater the storm, the brighter the rainbow. So it speaks to, I think, the positive aspect of things that we're going to go through as we get on the other side of this. This is a relatively new piece. We're new in terms of opening up to wholesale. I mean, most of you probably haven't received this piece because we developed it during the heart of COVID. And what I love about this is it just, rainbows right now are just very, very relevant. We tested this with an email. It did phenomenal. And we're donating a portion of the proceeds to Feeding America, which has that give back aspect to it, which we know is important. So that's the Rainbow of Hope. It has a retail of $34 or $15 wholesale, and it's available in both brass and silver tone. So if we go to the next slide, we've got the Serenity Prayer. So this piece is done just absolutely gangbusters. Serenity Prayer is a classic prayer. I think it speaks to a little bit of an older audience, but it has universal appeal. Probably never been more relevant to being able to get the message out today. So it comes with a really, really great card that spells out the Serenity Prayer. What I love about this piece, and it's a little hard to see, these are actually digital renderings, but the phrase itself, or the prayer itself, is laser engraved into the back of a Swarovski crystal. So you get this beautiful emerald cut Swarovski crystal, which is very on trend. We do what we consider to be a very, very innovative manufacturing technique, where we laser engrave the prayer into the back of the card, and we coat it with a layer of epoxy to give it protection. It's not an in-your-face, overly religious. It's a subtle reminder, which is the intent with it. And we've gotten just fantastic feedback with it. We just did a national on-air event with it and sold out in a matter of minutes. So we think this is something that obviously speaks to consumers now, but I think it's something that, if you look into the summer and into the fall, I think it's something that's going to be a very, very steady seller. It comes in the clear crystal, the vintage rose, and the aqua. I like the clear crystal the best because I think it's more universal. So I go clear crystal, aqua, and vintage rose, according to the sales data, is what's selling the best. Has a $42 MSRP and a $19 wholesale, and all of our pieces come with an essence card. This spells out the prayer. So when you're merching it in these displays in back of us, when someone walks up, they'll be able to see the prayer very visibly, so they don't have to go and kind of squint to figure out what the prayer says. So I love that piece. I would recommend buying it and messaging it out to your consumers. All right, next one is Daisy. So this was part of our spring collection. We did really well with daisies last year. We wanted to add some epoxy. So it's got this beautiful white epoxy, and those are 3 little topaz Swarovski crystals. This continues to do very, very well. We see it as an accent. So a lot of our consumers are buying multiple bracelets. They're creating their own stories through the layering and the stacking of the bracelets. And what's nice about this is the card is shown here, grow free wildflower. So there's a bunch of different reasons, whether it's self-purchase or gifting, of why someone would purchase this. And we think it's a very, very good piece on its own, but I actually think it's even better as a complementary piece to other things that we have. So I could see this with Serenity Prayer. I could see it with Cardinal. I could see it with a lot of things. This is a steady piece that we believe will continue to sell well throughout May and into the summer. Flowers for us have done very well, and we don't think that that's going to change anytime soon. So this has a MSRP of 38 and a retail, MSRP of 38 and a wholesale of 17. Right, next one is Cardinal. So I'll give you the story of this because this is my baby. This is sort of near and dear to my heart. So I lost my dad in May of 18. His favorite bird was a cardinal. My grandfather's favorite bird was a cardinal. My brother was, I think, too young to be into birds, so I'll just assume that he liked cardinals as well. The day that I lost my dad, I was driving from the hospital, pulled into my driveway. I'd lived at that house for 6 years. I'd never seen a damn cardinal, literally my entire time of living at the house. And when I pulled in, there were 3 cardinals in the driveway. And so, to me, this is a very, very real piece. When I have moments in my life where I'm doubting things, or I need a little guidance, or I need a little push or reassurance, I see cardinals all the time. The most recent one was me driving into work one day, and COVID was happening, and there was all this stuff going on, and I was a bit overwhelmed. And sure enough, I saw a cardinal fly across the road, and it's typically a sign, I think, from my dad to tell me to kind of get my act together and focus on fixing the issues. So this has been since we launched it, this has been our #1 seller. The stories, I'd implore you to go to our website. We have I think 2,500 reviews. We've sold well over 100,000 units of the cardinal. And the stories in those reviews are nothing short of amazing. And that's what really drives a great piece, is not buying a piece of jewelry, but creating an emotional connection. No one needs the pieces the jewelry that we design and sell. It needs to be something where they connect with it on an emotional level. And there's probably not a greater piece in our entire portfolio than the cardinal. All right, so next one is Rosary Heart. This piece was part of our Easter collection. It's doing very, very well. We love the look of it. You can see the photograph there on wrist shot. Blue epoxy in person, it looks phenomenal. It's got a great card that says "Keep the Faith." Again, that inspirational, aspirational. We think that people are looking to faith in whatever it means to them during COVID. So I think this is another great piece that we think will continue to do well over the next coming months. And then I believe we have one more. Two more. Bluebird. So I love this card. So we'll talk about the card first, and we'll talk about the pieces. So advice from Bluebird: spread a little happiness, keep a song in your heart, feather your nest with friendships, the sky's the limit. So I think if you think about those words, and you think about people coming into a store, either buying a gift for themselves or buying a little special something for a loved one, this is a great piece. The inside of this is actually a handmade piece of glass from Germany. So the effect of it, when you look at it in person, it's beautiful. It's a great size for layering and stacking, and feedback from our customers so far has been phenomenal. So this is, again, another piece that I think I'd feel very comfortable with retailers bringing in. And then, I put more in here than I thought, which is good. Nurses. So, I've got some friends who are in the medical profession, and the work that they're doing is nothing short of amazing. I mean, literally putting their lives on the line to do their job. And for many of these people, it's not what they necessarily signed up for, to the degree that they're going through things. So we're trying to do our part. This formerly had a different name. It was First Responders. We've changed it. So for those of you who've seen old line sheets, we think Lifesavers is probably a little bit more relevant. We're getting behind this recently with our paid social. So if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you'll see more of a push from us. That's obviously intentional. We will continue to do more of that. So we think the design and the name and the card, we think all of this is very, very relevant, and we think we can do a lot in terms of moving the needle with the advertising. All right, lastly, graduation. So this is a new recent push for us on paid social. This is doing very, very well, significantly better than I expected. So I think what we wanted to do here is just come up with a design that sort of, we saw a lot of stuff with just the year. We saw some stuff with a graduation cap. I think this is a modern piece that's a reminder. 2020 and for some people is going to be a tough year that they're going to want to forget. I think for a lot of people, it's going to be a year that sort of defines them as an individual. And so as a group, we've made the decision that we want to go ahead and just embrace the whole idea that 2020 is, a path or a moment in their journey. These moments can either build you up or push you down. And we're trying to tell our community that these are moments that build you up. And so we're starting to get behind graduation in a very, very big way. And you'll see this in the coming weeks that we'll push this very heavily on our paid channel. So for those retailers who do have a graduation business, at least our data is showing that this is a great piece. I'll end with just kind of our thoughts. I mean, we have a factory, so we do all of our own production. The factory's been in my family since 1954. Like all of you, we've been impacted. So we have people out for childcare. We have people who are scared. We're short-staffed. We're very busy. We're doing the best that we can to get things out. We've had to take precautions to keep not only our employees safe, but our products safe. All of my vendors are dealing with the same issues. So we will do our best, as always, to stand by and support, particularly as stores start to open. We will do our best to stand by and support you and ship quickly. That being said, I just want to highlight that there are delays with both UPS and with the post office. We think that those delays are going to get worse next week. So we would implore people to try to get their orders in as quickly as possible, and give my commitment on my end that my team will do everything that they can in order to get these out in a timely manner.
And I'd like to note that Fred has given all of us, which we have on the back end and happy to share, the high res images for these 7 or 8 bracelets that have been your top sellers so far this spring and most recently. So we'll be able to get those out to the stores who want to promote any or all of these bracelets. Fred, let me ask a question out loud. Would you like to see most of these orders over to you by Friday? Do you feel like most of the stores would get them mostly next week? Or what are your thoughts about that with what's going on?
I think we talked with the team. So I think our preference is if you can get those orders in by Friday. I'm sitting here with Sammy from our B2B team. So we'll work Saturday and part of Sunday in order to be able to get those out. My suspicion is if you wait until Monday or Tuesday, and I think this goes across any vendors, I don't think this is just with us. I think by the time we pick and pack and run credit cards and go all that other stuff, I think for us to guarantee that it's going to get there for May 9th, you probably can do that, but we're going to pay an exorbitant amount in shipping costs. So I think Friday is your best bet in terms of being able to get things. Okay. I also agree with you. I would implore anyone to ask our team. We have a phenomenal social media team. We have all these assets. It's very easy for us to share them. And I'll also volunteer myself if anyone wants me to do a Facebook Live or to do a video or any push. I'm happy to do it. Just don't be shy. Ask, and we'll be here to support you guys as much as possible.
Yep, we've got you scheduled for a few as well too. So the assets, I just want to remind retailers that the assets are available if you already have these bracelets in stock. Some of these came out early in the spring, the healthcare, the daisies, the cardinal. So, no need to buy anything. We've got the assets that you can promote the inventory that you already own. So, so that's good as well too. No pre-order.
One last thing, Kim. I mean, what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of birthdays. We're seeing a lot of I'm just thinking of you. Just sweet sentimental gifts that people are sending to one another. So it's not for us. It's not just about Mother's Day. A lot of the things, the core things in our portfolio, are all doing phenomenally well. And to Kim's point, take advantage of the assets that we have. So if you want to work with your rep or work with our B2B team, we have all those assets. Send us your inventory. We'll send you all the assets. We can make it very, very easy. I think as stores reopen, I think one of the most important things is to try to move the inventory that you have. And so we have all those things to try to make it as easy as possible as you guys start to open up the stores.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much.